Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the RA Group Daily Webcast. Every weekday at 3:30, we'll be having a host of live webcasts with our panel of experts, discussing a wide variety of topics to help you survive and thrive during the lockdown, including cooking demonstrations, well-being and health advice, sommelier skills, mindfulness techniques, plus education around a variety of culinary topics. Today, Cariad Kenan, our Head of Learning and Development, will be discussing positivity and a growth mindset during the lockdown. Please feel free to ask any questions throughout the broadcast, as we'd love to keep this as interactive as possible. Now over to Cariad.
Thanks so much, Gavin. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's lovely blue skies, sun is shining, fantastic. So today I'm going to be talking to you about positivity and growth mindset. So a very important topic generally, but also I think specifically at the moment in times of uncertainty and also challenge. So I'm going to start off by asking you a question, and that is, I'd like you to think about 3 things that you are grateful for today. 3 things that you are grateful for today. I'm also going to ask the panel if they would like to tell me what they're grateful for whilst we wait for some of the ideas and suggestions to come through on the chat. So over to the panel.
Thanks, Cariad. Yeah, absolutely. So things that I'm grateful for at the moment, I suppose first would be technology, so that I can stay connected to loved ones that I'm not with at the moment. Grateful for my health and being in good health, and then finally a good supply of chocolates and sweets and biscuits at home. So yeah, they're the 3 things that I'm grateful for.
Fantastic.
I would definitely agree with the health. I think the health of my friends and family and colleagues is super important to me, especially at this challenging time. I think the fact that the shops are fully stocked again is a wonderful thing, at least in my area. And the sun is shining. It's such a beautiful day. I mean, how can you not smile when the weather outside is just so stunning?
I completely agree. I think if I had to think, I mean, it's only fair that I share as well, of course. I think 3 things that I'm really grateful for are very similar to you: the health of my family and friends. I think having some outdoor space, I'm really grateful for. It's really good for my health and my mental well-being. And like you said, Gavin, the weather, I mean, fantastic. I'm really grateful that it's a beautiful sunny day and that my kids can paint outside rather than inside. Fantastic. Great. So whilst some of the other parts come through on our chat, let me take you through a little bit about what is a growth or an abundant mindset.
Oh,
now, before I go through all of this,
as well, by the way, sorry. Alice is saying her family and friends on WhatsApp, sunshine, and my dog. And then we have some more comments here. Being alive and well with the family, the NHS and emergency service, and the amazing weather. And we've got another one just come through. The health of loved ones, the sunshine, and celebrating my 7-year anniversary with my fiance. And that's from Bridie.
Oh, congratulations! Happy anniversary! That's really lovely. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. So before I talk to you about what a growth or an abundance mindset is, I'd like to throw it back out to you. So when we talk about a growth mindset, which is something that in positive psychology and in a lot of training arenas, we talk a lot about growth mindset. What does it actually mean? So what do you think it means? What does it mean to you, Gavin?
Oh gosh, back to me. I would say it's having an agile mind, being open-minded to new possibilities. I think it's possibly related to your intelligence and the fact that you want to absorb information and learn and grow on an emotional level as well as an academic level, I guess. And I'm going to assume it's to constantly keep pushing yourself on I think many levels, not just on the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Natasha, great, thank you. So Natasha, do you have any? Sorry, she's on the call. So a growth mindset is definitely, like you said, Gavin. It's very much about. I think the first part of having an abundance mindset is having being positive. So always looking for ways around challenges, always looking for the silver lining on any cloud, always looking to grow your knowledge, broaden your horizons, speak to people and see things from a very different perspective. So like it says here on the slide, there's a lot of different things here, of course. It's about viewing challenges as opportunities. And I think now more than ever, it is really, really important to adopt a growth or an abundance mindset, to look at what are all those opportunities that I have now. So yes, it might be an uncertain time. It might be a situation that I would not have chosen myself. However, what are the good things that I can see from this particular situation? As I said, it's also about learning. It's about growing your knowledge, growing your mind, challenging yourself, seeing what you actually can achieve. So really, it's about stretching yourself in every way, shape or form to have an abundance of knowledge, of views, of thoughts, of opinions, to really help you to be a more positive and well-rounded person. So I think what's really important in terms of a growth or an abundance mindset is very much about, like I said, focusing on the positives in any situation. And so that's why with the next model that will come up, it's very much about focusing on the areas that you can influence. Now, I'm sure this is a model that many of you have seen previously. I will take you through this. And what this is very much about is, it's called the circle of concern and circle of influence. Now, if you look at the circle of concern, which is the outer layer, it's very much about things that happen outside, externally to us. It's about things that we do not have any control or influence over. Things like the weather, things like the tube or train being late, things like other people's actions or what they say. So we can't control that. We cannot influence that. However, what we can influence is ourselves. We can influence our behaviors, our actions, and our thoughts and our words. And I think that's really, really important because, you know, there will always be things in life that we don't have any control over. And in order to stay positive and to drive mental well-being, it's important to be able to seek out those opportunities for good, for the positives. So I think right now, a great opportunity is, yes, a lot of us are working from home, and although that might be great for some, difficult for others, you know, is there time that we can carve out in our days where you could do some personal growth? So whether that be online sessions or whether that be reading those 5 books that have been sitting on your windowsill for a year, or spending time with your family and friends. You know, it's important for us to be able to take that opportunity to do all those things that potentially we haven't had a chance to do in a long time, or perhaps ever. So I'd like to share a story with you about a colleague that I used to work with previously. His name is Dragos, and him and I used to work together at the Intercontinental London Park Lane, which is a property that I worked at prior to Rapport. And Dragos left not so long ago to start a fantastic new role at the Savoy Hotel. And as many of you I'm sure know, Savoy took the decision to close its doors for 3 months. Well, of course, that left Dragos in quite a precarious position, not having a job. But he is incredibly inspirational. And instead of thinking about all the things that he could not control and feeling sorry for himself, he decided to look at that silver lining. He decided to look at what he could control and how he could turn things around for the next few months. And he decided to get a job at Sainsbury's. And I think amazing that he has really shared that story with us. And I think he's inspired so many people out there to really start to look at, what can I control? How can I actually influence my actions and thoughts for something good right now? And I'm sure that Dragos and many other team members who be working in other industries, which are probably quite different to their usual day-to-day, they will learn so many transferable skills that they will be able to use in possibly their personal life, but also at work. So really adopting that abundance mindset. So now I'm going to take you through a few hints and tips of how you can really drive an abundance mindset and your positivity. So the first one is focusing on gratitude. And this is why we started off today asking you, what are those 3 things that you are grateful for? We so seldomly take the time to reflect on our day and reflect on what's important to us and what we are grateful for, particularly because usually our lives are very, very busy. But every now and again, it is really important for us to take those mindful moments, to have a little bit of quiet time and to digest the day, and really to focus on all those things that we are grateful for, that bring us joy and that make us happy. The next tip is really about focusing on your achievements. So again, very often we focus on all the things we haven't done. Oh, I haven't read that. Oh, I haven't taken the dog for a walk. Oh, I haven't done exercise again. But actually, from a positivity and growth mindset, it's about looking at all the good things. It's about focusing on the achievements, focusing on all the things that you have done that potentially you have put off for quite a while, but now you've been able to do it. You have got lots of new knowledge, lots of new skill, perhaps more connectivity even with friends and family. So focus on all those good things that you have actually achieved. I think something that goes hand in hand with positivity and growth mindset is very much about self-compassion. So it's about being kind to yourself. It's about talking nicely to yourself, not berating yourself for not doing something or for feeling a certain way. So that self-compassion piece is incredibly important in terms of positivity and growth mindset. The next tip is very much about surrounding yourself with people who have an abundance mentality. I mean, who doesn't want to be around other people who have a similar mentality? You are looking for those cheerleaders in your life. You're looking for people who are going to keep you on track, keep you motivated towards living a more positive life. You're looking for people who are like-minded and potentially are also those people who will challenge your way of thinking so that ultimately you can open up and broaden your horizons and look at things through a different lens than you would potentially have done before. The next tip is about living an abundant life. Or creating or curating an abundant life. And this is very much about us right now. We have this opportunity to really create the life that we're looking to have. And I recently saw a quote on social media that really resonated with me. I'm going to read it for you. It said, "In the rush to return to normal, use this time to consider which part of normal are worth rushing back to." And I think now more than ever, we have the most incredible opportunity to really carve out that abundant life. What do you want it to look like? What does your new normal look like? The next tip is around looking at or focusing on your inner strengths. So again, this does go very much back to your compassion piece, but it's about focusing on those strengths. It's about focusing on all the things that you're good at and exploiting them even more, utilizing them even more. Of course, always looking to those areas of development and trying to focus on those. But again, that positivity, that abundance piece is very much about focusing on all the good in your life, in you, internally, as well as externally. The next slide is very much around looking at finding joy in your life. So again, we are so often consumed with routine and all the things we have to do or we should do. But what about the things that you want and actually you need to make you more positive and have that growth mindset? And this is really a shout out to all of you to say, do more of what you love. Do more of what makes your heart sing. Do things that, you know, it will really make you happy. It will help you live a more positive life and give you a more positive out view. So it's very much about driving that happiness piece. So again, you know, carve out that time for you, for your family, to watch a movie together, to play water guns outside, to bring out your inner child and perhaps write a story or paint or knit or whatever it is that makes you happy. I know that one of my colleagues is very happy to clean her house. She is very much into Mrs. Hinch. And other colleagues are very happy to wash dishes or do ironing. You know what? Whatever makes you happy and whatever makes your heart sing, seek that out and do more of it. The next hint or tip is very much about work-life balance and building a life of abundant thinking. I think now more than ever, it is incredibly important for you to carve out a robust work-life balance. So many of you are working from home at the moment, and perhaps the lines of home and work are a little bit blurred. And it is really important for your mental health and well-being and your positivity, your happiness, to make sure that you do have a balance. So potentially, have a routine where you get up in the morning, you have a set start time. You make sure that you have those breaks throughout the day. You make sure that you are nourishing your brain and your body. So it's not just about your mental health and well-being, it's also about your physical health and well-being. And of course, those two are linked. So please do try and get more vegetables if you don't already, fruit, drink more water, and have those regular breaks. I know that Natasha is an advocate of something called the Pomodoro technique, which is very much about carving your day into 25-minute segments, so that actually you do something for 25 minutes and then you get up and perhaps you go outside for some fresh air, or you talk to a friend, or you draw a picture with your kid, or you make a cup of coffee, whatever. But at least you kind of have a little bit of a break, which allows you to not only spend some time with the people that are here around you right now, but also to allow you to focus for those 25 minutes. So make sure you're taking those breaks, make sure you're nourishing your brain and your body, and also make sure that you have a definitive end time. So that is the end of your day, you switch everything off, and again, you can then enjoy the rest of your evening doing whatever makes your heart sing. And finally, my favorite, is very much about doing a personal SWOT analysis. So this one is about identifying your strengths and working on them. So this is a tool that many of you may already know, working with this in terms or in a business context. But what I am asking you to do, if you haven't already, is potentially think about doing a personal SWOT analysis. Like I said, we spend very little time focusing on ourselves when we should actually be the priority. So take a little bit of time to focus on what are my strengths, and be honest with yourself. Boast a little bit. You're just doing it to yourself. So what are my strengths? But equally, what are some of my weaknesses, or areas of development, as I like to call them? And again, be honest. What are some of those areas of development? What could I work on during this period of working from home, or even furlough? What are some of those opportunities that I have around me? So what resources do I have that will help me potentially turn an area of development into a strength? So is that my community? Is that online courses? Is that talking to people that I don't usually talk to, so that I can actually get different perspectives on things and try and see things from a different map of the world? And equally, look at threats. So some of those things that might stop those opportunities from happening. And again, look for ways around it. So I would strongly encourage you, if you've never done something like this before, to work on yourself and to do this. It's fun, but it also gives you a really strong sense of what your strengths are and what your areas of development are as well. So that really brings us to the end of today's session in terms of looking at what is positivity, how do you grow an abundance or positive mindset. And again, like I said, when it comes to anything emotions-based, it is very much internal. It comes from you. So yes, you might have external validation and you might think, oh, that's definitely brought me joy. But actually, it comes from inside first, and then outside second. So again, take that time if you can to have some mindful moments when you can have some quiet time, you can take some time to digest your day and think about what makes you happy, what makes you positive, and delve a little bit deeper into what are those triggers and how do I do more of that, or potentially less of that if it's taking away from your positivity. So that is it from me. Do we have any questions?
Yes, hi Cariad. I have a question. Are the tools and techniques that you've discussed for building positivity and growth mindset the same as building resilience within yourself? Are there differences between the two?
That's a very good question. I think it's all very closely linked, to be honest. When we're talking about ourselves and emotions, a lot of it is very, very closely linked. So I would say it probably is one and the same, because actually, in order to have resilience, they say that you should be adopting a growth mindset, positivity. And again, it talks a lot about things like making sure you have enough rest, making sure that you're nourishing your body, so that your mental and your physical well-being are in tune. Because actually, when you've had a good rest, a good night's sleep, when your body is functioning on all cylinders, you then have that opportunity to be resilient because you're thinking positively about the situation. You are looking at these challenges that are coming to you as opportunities rather than, oh gosh, another problem.
Great. Bryony writes in, she says, what would you suggest is the best way to log or track personal growth?
That's a very good question. I'm a huge fan of, well, there's a few different things. I'm a huge fan of writing things down or potentially having a journal. There are a lot of courses that will give you CPD points, so continued professional development points. So that way you are able to track your points in terms of actual numerical numbers. But for me, it's very much about having some kind of a journal or somewhere where I write things down in terms of what are my strengths, what are my areas of development, what are my opportunities. Then potentially doing a course, talking to people, looking at what was that action that I put in place, and then challenging myself or getting other people to challenge me so that I understand, have I actually grown my knowledge? Have I actually changed my mindset? Have I actually changed my view of the world on that particular topic? Of course, if the answer is no, then there's a lot more growing to happen. But what I will say is, of course, all of these behaviors that we're looking to enhance or change, any behavior takes a prolonged period of time to make it a habit. So again, all of these things that we're putting in place, or we're thinking of putting in place, fantastic, do it. But make sure that you're giving yourself or allowing yourself that time to kind of layer, to make sure that you are learning and you are growing. But it's not going to be one course, tick, done. It's going to be a continuous process and a layering of information.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. We've not got any more questions at the moment. So in that case, I'm going to say thank you very much, Cariad, for a fascinating discussion. Our next webcast will be on Tuesday at 3:30 with David Sims, who will be demonstrating how to make pizza for the whole family. For more information about our program of discussions, please go to RA Group's website at www.ragroup.co.uk/news to download the broadcast links and recipes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or suggestions about how you can get involved, please email communications@restaurantassociates.co.uk. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Meanwhile, we wish you a very happy Easter.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.